Facing the darkness is the first step toward claiming your power, because darkness is not just the absence of light. It is the place where your deepest fears live, where your most painful memories echo, and where your unspoken doubts try to convince you that you are weaker than you truly are. When you walk into that darkness, whether it's a lonely hallway in the Last Motel on Route 66 or a silent moment in your own mind, you meet versions of yourself that you've spent years avoiding. These are the versions that whisper that you're not enough, that you failed before, that you don't deserve the future you're trying to build. Yet these shadows are not there to destroy you. They exist to reveal what you've been carrying all along. The truth is that light doesn't show your strength. Darkness does, because only in the absence of comfort can you see the size of your courage. When you choose to face the darkness, you stop running from what terrifies you and start walking toward who you can become. You begin to understand that fear is not a dead end but a doorway, and most people never open it because they mistake trembling hands for weakness, instead of seeing them as the body's way of preparing for change. The darkness forces you to listen, to acknowledge what you've ignored, and to confront the stories that have kept you small. It strips away distractions, excuses, and illusions until all that remains is the truth of who you are, and who you could be if you dared to keep going. You learn that courage isn't loud. It's the quiet decision to take one more step, even when the path ahead disappears into the unknown. In that darkness, you discover that power doesn't arrive suddenly like a flash of lightning. It grows slowly, like a heartbeat you didn't know was still strong. It grows in the moments when you choose not to give up, when you breathe through the panic, when you keep moving forward even though every instinct tells you to turn back. The darkness becomes a mirror, showing you the resilience you once doubted, revealing the fire that fear tried to smother, reminding you that you were never as fragile as your fears made you believe. And as you continue through that darkness, something inside you shifts, something ancient and powerful, something that has been waiting for you to stop hiding and finally step into the identity that fear tried to bury but never succeeded in taking away. Every locked door in life tests how badly you want to move forward, because a locked door is never just wood and metal. It is a symbol of resistance, a challenge carved into your journey, and a reminder that nothing truly meaningful will ever be handed to you without effort. In the Last Motel on Route 66, those locked doors aren't there to keep you trapped. They're there to make you question how much of yourself you're willing to invest in what comes next. Each one stands silent and still, daring you to try, daring you to push, daring you to prove that your desire is stronger than your doubt. Most people see a locked door and immediately turn back, believing that the obstacle itself is a sign to quit. But the truth is, locked doors appear only when you're stepping into territory that matters. They reveal your willingness to fight for the life you want, instead of settling for the life you have. When you face these doors, you begin to understand that they don't test your strength first. They test your clarity. They ask you whether the goal beyond them is something you truly desire or something you only said you wanted. They force you to pause, reflect, and decide whether your dream is worth the discomfort of trying again and again. And with every attempt, every moment of frustration, every ounce of effort, you grow a little more. You start to see that the door isn't the enemy. It's a teacher. It teaches you discipline, patience, and resilience. It reveals the depth of your determination, showing you that persistence is far more valuable than talent, and that the act of trying is itself a form of progress. Locked doors shape your character in ways comfort never could. They demand that you adapt, learn, and evolve. They push you to find a new strategy, try a different key, or muster the courage to break through with sheer willpower. And while the world may think you're stuck, you know you're being forged. Every knock, every push, every failed attempt becomes part of your transformation, strengthening you from the inside out. As you keep facing these barriers, something changes in the way you look at challenges. You stop asking why the doors are locked, and start asking what version of yourself you need to become in order to open them. You begin to understand that the struggle is shaping you for what lies beyond, preparing you for the moment when the door finally opens. and the life you fought for becomes the life you step into design. Your fears chase you only until you turn around and confront them. Because fear feeds on movement. On your retreat, your hesitation, your decision to keep walking backward instead of standing your ground. In the dim corridors of the Last Motel on Route 66, fear moves like a shadow that grows longer the faster you run, whispering doubts in your ear, reminding you of every failure, every regret, every insecurity you've tried to bury. But fear is a strange creature. It looks enormous when you face away from it. Yet the moment you turn around, its shape changes. It shrinks. It stumbles. It loses the power it once held over you. Fear thrives only when you allow it to become a distant, undefined monster, once brought into the light of your awareness. It becomes something you can study, understand, and overcome. The act of turning around is not about being fearless. It's about refusing to be controlled. It's the moment you decide that you're done letting your imagination turn small problems into impossible threats. It's when you realize that running only exhausts you, drains you, and tightens the grip fear has on your path. When you finally stop and face what's been chasing you, you discover that much of your fear was a reflection of your own doubts, magnified by avoidance. You realize that the worst scenarios you played in your head were stories, not truths. Fear can only manipulate you when you're too afraid to question it, too overwhelmed to pause and challenge what it tells you. The moment you confront it, you reclaim your authority over your own mind, and in that confrontation, something powerful awakens. You stop being the hunted and become the hunter, seeking clarity, seeking understanding, seeking the strength that fear tried to overshadow. You start to see fear not as an enemy, but as a map pointing to your most important growth. Fear only chases what is potential, what is purpose, what is meaning. It does not waste its energy on the parts of your life that don't matter. So when it runs after you, it's because it senses your power long before you do. Confronting your fear becomes a declaration that you're ready to step into that power, ready to stop letting shadows dictate your decisions, ready to claim the path that was always meant for you. And with every step you take toward what once intimidated you, you begin to understand that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision to stop running and finally face what has been running after you all this time. Silence isn't emptiness. It's the space where transformation begins, because in silence, the noise of the world finally fades and the truth you've been avoiding rises to the surface. In the Last Motel on Route 66, silence feels alive, humming through the dusty hallways and abandoned rooms, pressing against your thoughts until you can no longer outrun what's inside you. Most people fear silence because it strips away distraction, leaving them alone with the parts of themselves they'd rather ignore. But silence isn't a void, it's a mirror. It reflects your insecurities, your dreams, your unresolved battles, and the potential you've kept hidden beneath layers of fear and routine. When everything around you grows quiet, you're forced to listen to the conversation happening within. And that conversation is what shapes who you become. Transformation doesn't happen in the noise of constant movement. It happens in the still moments, when you stop long enough to feel the weight of your choices and the pull of your purpose. Silence gives you the chance to hear the questions you've buried. Who am I when no one is watching? What do I truly want? Why do I keep running from the path that calls to me? These questions linger in the quiet, demanding honesty, demanding bravery, demanding that you confront the parts of yourself that you've left unattended. Silence opens the door to self-awareness, and self-awareness is the foundation of every meaningful change. It strips you down to your essence, allowing you to see what must be released and what must be reclaimed. In the stillness, you begin to recognize that everything you've been searching for, clarity, direction, strength, has been inside you all along, buried beneath layers of business and self-doubt. Silence peels those layers back, revealing the core of who you are and the path you're meant to walk. It's in the quiet that you reconnect with your inner fire, the one that flickers even when life feels dark. The world may try to convince you that silence is loneliness, but it's actually the birthplace of resilience, the chamber where your spirit learns to breathe again. In that untouched space, you find the courage to let go of what no longer serves you, the confidence to rebuild yourself stronger than before, And the clarity to see that transformation doesn't require chaos. It requires stillness, presence, and the willingness to listen to the voice inside that has been waiting for you to hear it all along.